Greetings. Thanks for stopping by. Health and happiness to you. I'm Skol, and this is the Jack Wolf Knives Gateway Fixed EDC. So it's the first time their fixed blades have gone down into the Gateway budget series. And let me introduce what I've got here. I got a blue bone with some saw cuts. We've got Vibe Jute Bison micarta and Vibe. It's a certain new brand of micarta where the colors won't fade. So if you're familiar with micarta, the color kind of fades with time, but you can do things like put mineral oil or Vaseline. You can bring the color back, but or wax. But with this Vibe, supposedly it's gonna retain its color, and it's made without phenols, it says, which is what causes the color fade. So now you won't have that problem with this micarta, so that's interesting. And then jute is a type of natural fiber material, so it's a little bit like a burlap with a certain type of fiber material, and bison for the color, so like a brown bison color. And then here we've got the Purple Wave. This was a show special at Blade Show 2026. I got it in person at Blade Show, and I'll show you a couple pics real fast after I finish introducing. Here's your continuously popular abalone, and then here's ebony wood. So these are the 5 that I selected that I would be satisfied, and because it was a budget, I was able to get multiples, and this is what I came up with. I'm satisfied with this selection, but I didn't get all of them. There's actually 7 versions. So the 2 that I do not have or chose not to get was the 80s camo this time. I didn't get that one. And also there's a show special. Well, this is the show special, but there's an exclusive over at Blade HQ. That's a butterscotch colored. It's called Butterscotch Micarta. So it's kind of orangish. You can go check that out. And so if you saw my Gateway Barlow video, you'll understand what I was doing here, trying to learn my lesson from what happened last time. When the Gateway Barlows came out, there were 7 versions, and I just picked 2. But then I was not satisfied that there were some others I wanted to get, but then they had sold out so fast, and it was a little bit of a journey to get the ones that I wanted. So to avoid that situation, which I think seemed a little bit ridiculous to me, the way it went down. So to avoid that, I kind of carefully considered ahead of time what would I be satisfied with, and this is what I came up with. So I also kind of put them in my personal preference order of which one's my favorite here of these, and why am I getting so many anyways. One thing I'm doing is taking advantage of the budget price where I can get multiples and kind of build up a variety of handle materials, because I like carrying a Jack Wolf knife, and when I make different sets, that way I have more to work with to make different sets, and it's fun for me, and when you add it all up, it adds up to a premium knife. But I've been able to do that, so don't worry about that. So here is my favorite one, the blue bone, and I was kind of excited about this new material, not just because it was new, but also the name appealed to me, Vibe, because my first brand new vehicle that I bought was a Pontiac Vibe, so I remember that fondly. So that word Vibe kind of triggers a pleasant trigger word for me. And also bison. I'm a Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres fan, and I lived in Buffalo when I was younger. So anything Buffalo and bison, I also kind of had that same positive reaction to. And speaking of bison and realizing this is like a pack of wolves, that's reminding me of something. So we got a bison running with a pack of wolves. That reminds me, what does it remind you? What if I do this? Tatonka. Does that ring a bell? That movie, Dances with Wolves, with Kevin Costner, which actually came out quite a while ago now, a long time ago. But you might remember that. That was the Indian word, Tatonka, for bison. So maybe I should give this a nickname. Sometimes I give a nickname to my knives. So that sounds good to me. I'm going to nickname this one Tatonka because it's bison. And we got the show special. Let me show you those pictures from Blade Show real quick. So if you're part of the Facebook group, over on Facebook at the Jack Wolf Knives Worldwide, you can go find that group. And so Donnie's posted in there every day. He's works with Ben. Those are the two main guys at Jack Wolf. So we got to meet Donnie. And so here's me, Donnie, and my boy that I took the Blade Show with me. So we got to meet Donnie and got a selfie here. And here's Ben Belcom himself at the Jack Wolf booth. And it was their idea to like get the whole banner in the picture. They were like, let's get the whole banner. So that worked out good. That looks nice. And then there's some other things I noticed about this picture. We're getting a little photo bomb here. So as I mentioned, I got the show special at the booth at Blade Show. Those are actually our 2 boxes because I got one and my boy also got one, or actually I bought it for him. So we got 2 of the show specials while we were there. And then here's their displays. I also wanted to point out, if you can see these little white display cases, they look like wolf jawbones with teeth. So that's kind of a neat thing too, if you've never noticed that before. What a neat way to display the Jack Wolf knives on like a jawbone of a wolf. And with you can kind of see the tooth sticking up there. So those are pretty neat too. So there's Ben Belkin. We got to meet him. And by the way, I actually had 2 opportunities I could have met Ben before, because both of us came to Blade Show last year, but I didn't get into Jack Wolf until late last year. So we didn't really even know about Jack Wolf or the brand or Ben Belkin last year. So also, it was our very first Blade Show. It was hard in one day just to do a walkthrough of the whole place. I remember that. And then also, in Ohio, I went to my first River's Edge Cutlery. They have this annual event in Columbus, Ohio, and I didn't know it, but Ben Belkin had a table there. So I missed 2 chances to meet Ben Belkin because I wasn't into Jack Wolf. So that seems funny to me because now it's my favorite brand. So we finally got to meet Ben Belkin. And here's my boys holding his at Blade Show. We stopped at a little table outside the hall, and we were kind of checking out what we gotten so far. And I got a picture here of Ethan holding his very first Jack Wolf knife. And it's kind of funny, his first one is a fixed blade, and my first one was also a fixed EDC. The backwoods was actually the very first one I bought. And I guess it's also kind of funny, I got it because it was Melissa Backwoods' collaboration. And I remember my reasoning to go ahead and I was interested in get into the Jack Wolf brand. And also, I figured I could kill 2 stones, or kill 2 birds with 1 stone, as the saying goes. I could get one of the collaborations of Melissa Backwoods, because she had another one that was T-Cal that I had missed out on. So I could get a Jack Wolf and also a Melissa Backwoods at the same time. So that's what my reasoning was at the time, but that actually served as a gateway for me. It wasn't on the gateway line, but that's what got me into Jack Wolf. And now Ethan's into Jack Wolf. And so those are our Blade Show pictures. Sorry for the long ramble. This box here with the gateway artwork that we've seen before, this is actually a smaller box from the Gateway Barlow. So I figured this big box would take too much room on the table here. And until I looked at them side by side, I thought it was the same artwork, because you got the gate and the welcoming in through the gate. That's the general idea of the Gateway series. But if you look a little bit closer, they've changed a few things. So on the old artwork, it's his right arm being held out. But now on the new artwork, that's blown up on the bigger box. Now it's his left arm, and then they've kind of switched it. So now you can see more of his face, so that makes sense that they would make some of those adjustments. So if you didn't notice before, the artwork is actually a little bit adjusted. And there's a few other neat things. On this one, you can't see the top of the gate, but there's the Jack Wolf logo incorporated. And then on the back here, this is the box. Very similar artwork, but slightly different. And if you read it, worked into the scrolling of the gate metal. Jack Wolf knives, it says. And gateway, down here the logo, and FixEDC. And then we'll look here more closely. This is the box for the saw cut blue bone and gateway, and you can see how they spell it, FIX, but then it's got the EDC, and they take the ED, so it's fixed EDC, but they splurge it together. So this is the budget line, and now it's on the same size box as the other fixed EDCs, but they took the gateway artwork and put it on the fixed EDC size box, which is approximately the size of a old VHS tape, and you probably need to be at least 20 years old in 2026 to even remember VHS at all. But the older crowd has deeper pockets, so it's like nostalgia for them, I think, is the idea behind that. Anyway, what else we got here? So here, another big change. Not only is it the first fixed blade in the gateway line, but it's also their first kydex sheath. So here is the same sheath that comes with all of them, kydex. And I was looking it over. It's got all the features you want in a kydex sheath. You have a nice firm friction fit. So I'll show you that here. And these are all the same dimensions. I kind of mixed them around. I can take any of the sheaths and any of the blades and put them in any sheath, and I think I've already lost track of which one came with which, because it really doesn't matter. They fit all. And then you also got a clip here, but you have retention and no rattle. Let me do that. No rattle, not hearing anything. There's no wiggle. And you can see all these holes, so you can put a variety of clips, but the clips it came with is very nice. And I'm going to show you some different things. So the standard position it comes in is for hip carry, for right-handed on your right hip. And so you grab it like that and pull it out on your right hip, and it would be oriented for your grip. And also this is very versatile because of this long slot. You can change the position of that one. So if you move it, and then you can adjust with that slot, so it'll end up fitting on any of these holes. And then this little clip here accommodates up to a 1.75 inches belt, and I've got it already mounted on a belt, so I can show it to you. So if you imagine, here's where you buckle, and then here's my right side. Here's one in the scout carry position. So I mounted that, and this is a 1.5 inch belt, pretty thick, probably pretty standard thickness for a man's belt. And so pretty thick leather, and this is a 1.5 inch, fits in there easy. And you can see that there's still a 1/4 inch additional space. So I did a little measurement with the tape measure, and it does have an extra 1/4 inch. It'll accommodate to a 1.75 inches belt, but I think 1.5 is a pretty common size. That's what I usually always wear. That's what they sell at Costco too, so I think that's pretty standard. And then keep going around here. I have another one mounted. Here's your standard mount. But these can be mounted in any orientation. You could have it scout carry here. You could flip it around and have it scout carry on your right side and withdraw from the back. You could flip it over to have the edge side down or up. You could put it on your left side, completely ambidextrous. So any of the 4 scout positions, any, and then you can make this ambidextrous, left or right hip carry. You could also go upside down if you want to, I guess. So that's 4 positions there, any of the 4 orientations. And there's also a fifth orientation. What if you just take the clip off completely and now it's a pocket dropper, which is probably what I'll do most with these. So if you just take the knife and drop it in your pocket, and I've got a pants, I got some cargo shorts over here. So let's see if I can demo it right here on camera. Here's a tan pair of cargo shorts, and here's the main pocket. And let's stick it in there. So slide it into the pocket, and it's actually going all the way to the bottom up to here. So it's completely concealed. Even if I pull it out toward, I guess you can get it's all the way to the bottom. You can get the lanyard to stick out if you want. But the knife, even if I push it all the way to the edge, it's still concealed. But you can make the lanyard stick out if you want. But if you just drop that all the way to your pocket, and that's what I do a lot. I've had other pocket FixEDCs, and I know some people that put them in their pocket have a clip, and they like to clip it, so it's like sticking out of their pocket like that. So actually I got one here. I didn't try that because I didn't have any interest in doing it that way. But I guess, let's see, if you lift, this can lift. I wonder, you can probably clip it so it would be like that. And that lip, I guess, would catch. Should I try it? I haven't tried it. I don't really want to carry it that way, but I'll do it for you. Let's just give it a try. So you can, this is spring, and also when you feed your leather belt through, you have to do that anyway. You stick your finger under there, you get some spring tension, you lift it out so you can slide the belt, and then when you let go, it gives some tension, so it's gonna hold it in place on your belt so it doesn't slide around. I have some other fixed blade nylon sheaths that kind of slide around between the belt loops, but this one's gonna have tension that kind of holds it in place. Let me try this out live on camera. Usually I prepare beforehand, but I actually didn't think of this. If you clipped it like that, how is it? I don't know. That's not for me, but I guess this sheath, if you want some other type of clip that can do that, I just want to drop it all the way down the pocket. And I'll show you some other knives I already had. Anyway, we gave it a try. Now I messed up my table here. So I got this knife, and we'll fix that. Here's some other pocket droppers with no clip at all. So if you go look at my review of the FixEDC, the backwoods, and that one had a leather slip, I decided I didn't want the leather slip in the pocket. So on that one, I decided it was a dress carry, like a new category for me. So I demonstrated how it went on my belt, and that's a nice belt carry that's a little bit fancier. So I call it a dress carry on that backwoods FixEDC. But these are budget with kydex. So now I have a whole bunch of new pocket droppers. And here's some other brands with small. And one thing I like about, or I've learned, is it's better to have a flat bottom. I do have another one that I don't like to put in my pocket because it came to an abrupt point, which I felt like was too much pressure on the pocket material. You need to distribute the weight. So you see you get this nice flat spot. That's what you want on a pocket dropper. So I'm so glad that I saw it was a flat bottom. Even before I bought these, I knew that they did it right, and I was glad to see that. Also, some other standard things about kydex. So you can see it's become pretty standard to get your holes to accommodate a variety of different clips, and then you got your drainage hole, which has become kind of standard now. So here's the Jack Wolf one. It's also got a drainage hole, and this one, all of them have it. And you can see this one, new one's a little bit smaller. So this will be even easier to carry. Although these fit in my pocket just fine too, and they're a larger size. So I just wanted to show off. Here's what I had before, but now I've got 5 new ones that are even a little bit more compact. And they're Jack Wolfs, which makes it more fun. So, you got 4 different orientations. Scout carry, 4 different orientations. If you're willing to go upside down on hip carry. And then you also have take the clip off completely and just drop it in your pocket. So that's a whole lot of options. And how easy is it to adjust? You just use a Phillips screwdriver. It was very easy. You don't need anything for the other side. So you just do your Phillips, it comes out, and you can move it to the new holes and do your Phillips back in. And that is super easy. Or one point I wanted to make is, since these, if you get 3 or more like I did, you can just leave one sheath in each of the orientations, and the other one's on my belt there. So I have 5, but you actually only need 3. So I like carrying on the hip, right hip. So here's one on the right hip. I can stick any knife into this one, and right hip if that's what I'm wanting to do that day. Here's one where I can just keep the clip off completely. And by the way, these aren't that big of clips. You could probably just pocket drop it and leave the clip on. I think that would probably work fine too. But leave one sheath with no clip. So if I'm whichever one I want to carry, maybe I'm doing a blue set, and maybe I want to do a pocket drop. So I'll just grab the blue one, stick it in here, drop it in my pocket, and it's already ready to go because I have one already configured. And I'll leave that other one scout carry, which I do not have any scout carry configuration, so that's my first. So it's another first. It's my first scout carry, or that I'm going to leave in scout carry. So I haven't really tried that much. I don't want it on the small of my back. I like to have it in front of me where it's in my control and in my sight. I don't think I'm comfortable having it in the small of my back. So either on my hip or a scout carry up front here where I can have it within my range of control and vision. And I don't want to be, I don't know, that just doesn't seem right to me to have it in the back. But if you do that, that's fine. If you're comfortable with that, that's fine. But that's not for me. So anyway, I'd give the kydex sheath an A+. 0 things to recommend about it for adjustments. They did it completely right. 100% score on the kydex sheath. And do I want the leather sheath, which maybe looks a little more dressy, or do I want a kydex sheath? My vote is for kydex. I love this. So good job. I know other people had asked for kydex because I heard the guys say that people had been asking for kydex, and now you're getting kydex. And I didn't really ask for kydex, but here it is, and I'm glad for it, and I vote for more kydex. That would be my preference. I'm not super into the fixed blades, but maybe this will actually get me more into it in the future, especially if they come with kydex. So I guess that's my opinion about that. I just find more use for a pocket dropper for me to carry than I do for what I consider a dress belt dress carry. I have more use for a pocket dropper. And that goes for even other premium ones. I'd rather have premium and drop it down into my pocket and have a kydex sheet. Just for me, that I guess would be my preference. So enough about that. Is there anything else to say? Let's look at some close details. Which one do you want to look at? How about ebony? Ebony is beautiful. So I said I had them in my order, and I got them out of order here. So the blue one was first place. That I was most excited about. But what's the market saying? The hot seller is the abalone again. So that's the hot one. But I'm picking up ebony just to show that even the one that I ranked last is still completely beautiful. So here's beautiful ebony wood. Here on the Ricasso Jack Wolf sharpening choil. And you got a swedge. And one thing I need to show you is, can I make some room here? The blade shape really matches the Gateway Barlow clip point very closely. So here is one of the Gateway Barlows, and I'll just put them side by side, but even on top you can tell. One thing you notice is you got your nail nick here, but this isn't a folding knife, so you don't need a long pull. Although, even though it's not a folding knife, you could just put the long pull there and call it a fuller. I guess that's possible. So that's the main, really, or even only difference in appearance between the Gateway Barlow and the Gateway Fixed EDC. And I guess the other thing that stands out, and then you don't have a bolster, so this is fixed blade, this is a folding Barlow. And then the other thing you might notice is quite a bit shorter handle. So same blade length, but a lot shorter handle. My preference would be to get a little bit longer handle. And let's actually do the measurement while we're talking about this. So here's the blade length. 3 inches. And your cutting edge, 2 3/4 inches. Your overall length, 6 inches. And so your handle length is 3 inches. So if you've got a 3-inch blade and a 3-inch handle, so it's 50-50 right there in the middle. But one thing I kind of say in all my videos is you need 3 1/4 inch minimum for my hand size to get a forefinger. But the weird thing is, even though this is technically 3 inches right to there, the full handle length, with the ricasso, for some reason it still feels comfortable to me as 4 fingers, but that's only because part of my finger is riding up onto the ricasso. So I think 3 1/4. I do wish we could get just that extra 1/4 inch, or even a whole 1/2 inch. Why not? That's what I say. Why not? Give us another 1/2 inch. And I showed those other ones that were pocket droppers were even longer than that. So I mean, this one fits completely in my pocket, completely concealed, and it's got a longer handle. So you can have a extra 1/2 inch there and still be concealed in your pocket. But anyway, I'm just saying I would like a little bit more, 1/4 inch or even a 1/2 inch more on the handle would be nice. But when I roll it around my hand, and like if I was going to cut something, how would I pick this up? I'll move this aside because we're talking about the fixed blade. If I was going to use it, if I wanted to push hard, how am I holding it here? I got 3 fingers that fall across the handle, and then 1 finger up here. You can get some power that way. Or what if I rotate and get some power with my thumb? How's it looking? I'm still getting somehow 4 fingers on there. So maybe I've had my measurements wrong, or maybe it's because I'm not sure why. It's a little bit perplexing to me that this is a 3-inch handle, but I still seem to be getting 4 fingers on there. So, I mean, you can see that it doesn't go all the way. Somehow the ricasso's accommodating. So, I don't know. Somehow it's working. Anyway, this works. Even the hammer fist, I'm getting 4 fingers on there. Somehow it's happening. And that all feels comfortable. Everything's rounded. I did notice, because it's a shorter blade, and when you hammer fist, you get the end into your palm. And on some knives, that can be a problem if you have a sharp corner. But I can hammer fist and even really try to squeeze, and I'm not getting any discomfort at all. That is nicely rounded. There's not even a hard corner. I can push really hard on that corner. Well, actually, if I push really, really hard, I can start to feel it. But that is a nice rounded corner that doesn't seem like it would be a hot spot at all, even with continued use. Would you use a knife like this that hard anyways? It's not a bushcraft knife, but it is safer than any folding knife because you have no folding actuation. So fixed blades, you always say, are even stronger than the strongest triad lock. So how many pounds can the triad lock hold before they cause the triad lock to fail? Something like over 500 pounds. Well, I bet you this could hold over 500 pounds. Just the bar of steel. So full tang. So let's look at everything else. So you did also notice some other things. And this is not a Barlow anyway. Although the blades are almost exactly the same. What makes this a Barlow is the long bolster. So no bolster. Oh, you do have a shield. I was about ready to say there was no shield, but then I looked. There are shields. There's shields on all of them. So they do have the shields, but they don't have the bolsters. And you do have pin construction, which is in approximately the same place as it was on the folding knife. Except one's way up high, and then the shield's a little bit higher. So anyway, and then you also have a lanyard hole that you didn't have. There was no lanyard hole on the folding knife. And they all come, I know I've seen on some of the others that they had different colors that would match. So like this one would be blue, but on the Gateway series, which is budget, maybe it was cheaper, but black looks nice. Black is a nice neutral color that goes with everything, so that black definitely looks nice on all of them. So you got a black, no matter which version you get a black little paracord. And I guess some people say that gives you something else to hold on to, but I'm still a little bit surprised that this is 3 inches and I'm being accommodated. That's a little bit surprising to me. So let's finish looking. So we are budget Gateway, but 14C28N is a very good steel. And another thing I'm surprised, on this fixed blade they went with 0.12 inches, I believe, but let's check it right now. Which I love. I love 0.12 inches. I say it over and over again in my videos. A good EDC, perfect stock thickness, which is well established all the way back through the Buck 110 ages. I'm getting 0.115 right there. Am I all the way on the Arcasa? I don't think I was all the way on the Arcasa. Here we go. 0.11 and round up to 9. 0.119, so we're almost there. 0.112, but that probably comes out to like 3 millimeters exactly. So usually you round that up anyways. If it's 3 millimeters, which is 0.118, is 3 millimeters exactly. Often it'll be rounded up to list as 0.12. So you just round up that third number. Anyway, excellent stock thickness. I like that a lot. I'm glad these are 0.12. And 14C is very good steel that's highly corrosion resistant and very tough. So that's going to make your tip even tougher with a tougher steel. It's actually rated 9 out of 10, I believe, on toughness. So very tough steel. And then we got nice looking shield, pins. These are all pinned construction. I think LT Wright converted Ben maybe to pins. And LT Wright, that makes their vampire hunters, convinced them to do pin construction. And then I think, and then we started getting the gateways. We had gateways and pins, and now we're getting fixed EDCs with pins. So I know the backwoods, that one had Torx hardware, the one that I had. So, and let's do the weight. So we already did some length measurements. We already did the stock thickness. Everything's perfect. This is getting really high marks across the board. And these might be different on all the different... something's gone weird. Let's tear that. Point. Oh, one. What am I doing? Where's the decimal? 1.56 ounces. Is it possible it's that light? Let's check the, this should be 2, it's because it has steel liners, 3 ounces. It was throwing me off. I couldn't believe it was that number. Only 1 ounce. That's ultralight. Ultralight, only 1.56 ounces. I almost couldn't believe it. And 1.61 ounces. And then your purple wave, 1.5 ounces. And your micarta, 1.56 ounces. And blue bone, that's the heaviest, 1.7, round that up to 4, 1.74 ounces. But how much with the sheath? Because if you're dropping in your pocket, or you'll always be carrying the sheath, so you always have the sheath with the blade, so you need to know what is the actual total weight. So this is with the clip, and let's see how much we get there. And this is the heaviest one, 3.14 ounces, which is for EDC range at the low end of the normal range for EDC. So that's right there. That's a good package. The entire sheath and all, including the clip and the full knife, 3.14. That is a good EDC weight, the total package. Good size. I guess the only thing I could say, I think I'm just about ready to wrap this up, is maybe a little bit longer handle. I would appreciate another 1/4 inch, and I do find these to be acceptable. They're working for me. I tried them in hand. They're accommodating me. Large size gloves, and beautiful beautiful materials at a high value price. So like $75 for this modern new material, Vibe Bison micarta. Only $75. I think that's pretty high value, and with the like top-notch sheath package coming with it too. So I rate that as a 100% perfect sheath coming with that for only $75. Extremely high value, and I was glad to get multiple version. I will have use for these with my carry sets, and I think I made some good choices that I'm really happy with. I really like this, and the more, even during my review, things just kept getting better and better. I sort of couldn't believe it. So is there anything else to show here? Here, I got this from grimfrost.com. They sell Viking stuff. That's pure silver, and it's Fenrir the wolf. So wolf theme, I threw it on there. And here's my coin. I showed that off in detail in my last video, which was the Big Bro. So if you want to see more on that, go check out the Big Bro video. And if you want to hear my funny story about the Gateway Barlow, and how I got 6 of those, that's another good video. Lots of good videos. But anyway, I think we have covered everything. Stats, all the different options. Showed you the sheath on the belt. I showed you the sheath in detail. We looked at everything. Did we look at the other side where it said 14C28N? And show you these perfect edge bevels in the light. Perfect factory edges. And you have a nice looking swedge. On all of them, all the blades are the same. They're all full tang. Full tang. So, very, very, very nice. I would give this one of the higher grades. And like I said, even as I reviewed it, it seemed like it got better and better. So these are extremely nice. I do have one more thing to say. These show specials that I got at Blade Show, they do have some of those over at TPK, Traditional Pocket Knives. So if you want the show special, head on over there to TPK, traditionalpocketknives.com. And thanks for stopping by. I'm Skol. Go check out all my other Jack Wolf videos. I have a bunch more to come. In fact, I'm still acquiring some of the older models of Jack Wolf, and I still need to catch up on a lot of reviews. But I did, with this review and the Feel Better, 2 of the most recent Jack Wolf releases, so I'm a little bit caught up on the most recent stuff now. So thanks for stopping by. I'm Skol, and remember, always carry a knife.